Young chubby children are terrorized at camp by the fat-shaming villain, Ben Stiller.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Luis.
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
hello and welcome to
to
the
the Walt
Walt Vault,
episode 109.
a family-friendly podcast where we talk about Disney movies.
I mean, they already heard that.
They already know that part.
Oh.
Because we say
I was doing that intro.
We say it in our intro.
Should we redo that intro? I don't know.
Probably. It's really old.
Is it still me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, we
Mhm.
need to stop that.
Yeah, somebody else's turn. Huh.
You know what?
Addie's turn.
The best part of this whole thing is that Andre asked, Emily, Michelle, do you want to do the intro? And we said no. And we didn't even look at each other, and we both did it. See?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I already knew what was happening. I know what's up.
Great.
I ain't
Love
stupid.
it.
Why do you even ask? Of course we were
Felt
gonna do
great in my headphones. I hope it felt great in
I
yours
hope it really hurt you.
as
I'm just
well.
kidding.
This week, we are talking about the 1995 live-action Disney film, Heavyweights.
I was born. I was 2.
You were born?
You were born.
Born.
This movie was directed by Stephen Brill and written by Stephen Brill and Judd Apatow. This is one of his
You're
earlier
saying that like I should know who
earlier
that is.
movies.
I know.
Judd
he did
Apatow.
this to me yesterday. I was like, I don't know who this
He is a quite famous director and producer. He
Of?
did Knocked Up.
There we
He did 40-Year-Old Virgin. He
Ha.
did This Is 40. He did Funny People,
Jesus
Pineapple Express. You Don't Mess with the Zohan, Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story. All of the most
They
modern
couldn't hear it.
comedies
They
from
heard
the past like 10 years.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
should know him.
Yeah.
Well, but I didn't know.
Or at least we know of his
We know
Yeah.
of him. We know of his comedic works out in the world.
And this was early.
This is one of
Of
his
those.
earlier ones, yes. Actually, I think this is his first feature film script that he wrote. Everything else he did before this was like writing on the Grammy Awards and stuff
Also,
like
speaking of feature film, I thought this was a DCOM, but it's not.
that. No, this movie came
Agreed.
out
I thought
in
that too.
theaters.
Yeah, I thought it was a DCOM
In 1995.
until I was like,
Again,
oh,
DCOM? What is
Disney
this?
Channel original movie. But it came out in the theater, so it was not a Disney Channel
Oh.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Did you also think it was a DCOM, Luis?
I didn't know what DCOM was.
Did you think it was a
Did you
Disney
think it came
Channel
out on
original
TV
movie?
or did you think it came out in the theaters?
I thought it was a theater movie.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was a TV movie.
I thought this was going to be a nice 90 minutes, and it was a little longer.
It was a
than
little
that.
longer than
A little
90
longer than
minutes.
I would have liked to, but
It
let's
was,
go ahead and
it was a hot
get
145.
into that. So let's go ahead and give our first impression. Andre, let's start with you, since you were so excited to watch this.
Yeah, Andre definitely has asked for this
Months.
on multiple
I
multiple occasions.
remember watching this movie as a kid, and it was just the funniest thing that I had ever seen. Like, there was so many great jokes in this movie, great kid jokes from when I was a kid that I fondly remembered.
I love the way you're setting this up.
So watching it.
However,
Jokes.
Watching it this time, I still found this movie to be quite entertaining, and it held up surprisingly well. I thought I was going to go into this and
did it
hear
hold up better than Smart House?
yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
for sure.
I agree with that.
I thought I was
just
gonna.
needed to know.
I thought I was gonna go into this and hear 1995 fat jokes and be like, "Ay ay ay, this is a rough city." But no, I was laughing my
Not
little butt.
funny and half racist.
Yeah,
Right?
I was laughing my little butt off almost the entire time. So I had a good time watching
And
this.
Andre
watching
doesn't
this
have a
movie.
butt to laugh off, so
Right, there's not much here. I look like Tim from this movie.
Have you ever pulled a Tim?
Yeah. I've been covered in chocolate and marshmallows before, for sure. Mhm.
Where was I?
That was a before Michelle moment.
You do you, honey boo boo. All right, Luis, first impression of The Heavyweight.
I thought it was cool. At first, like when we see whatever his name is, the main character. What's his
I
name?
now see why you wanted me to take
Jerry?
a picture of you.
Jerry.
Which was really confusing because in the past movie we watched, his name was Gary
And
and
Gary.
not Jerry, but they were spelled the same way.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
I legitimately thought he was gonna get picked on. Like they were
Me
gonna be
too.
mean to him. But I like the fact that they weren't. They were all kind of like instantly in this shared bond of brotherhood.
Right.
You
There's
know?
a real camaraderie at Camp Hope.
I
Yeah.
thought it was going pretty good, and then once some stuff happens, it kind of.
It peters
I
out.
liked it. I don't have anything bad to say about it, but I really don't have a lot of good things to say either.
All right. Fair
True.
enough.
All right.
Emily.
I had never seen this movie, so I had no idea what to expect.
Mhm.
But because I knew it was early 90s, I was like, okay, set the bar at like a 6.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it totally beat that.
Okay.
Like, it was good. Like,
Yes.
for the time period, I was entertained. I agree with Luis. I was, like, super on board until, like, a certain part in the movie, and then I was like, oh, this is going downhill fast. And then it kind of went back up again a little bit.
Sure.
But overall, it was pretty good. But I will say that it did inspire me and Adeline to make cookies. And with that being said, there are some cookies if you guys would like a cookie.
Oh,
Yes.
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 I saw it over there,
do.
and that Louise had not offered you one.
Is it stashed in a bedpost
He
somewhere?
offered us chippies.
No.
Pepperoni chips.
Just so y'all know, we had pizza,
Mm-hmm.
and they had chips, and we
Uh-huh.
are about to have a cook. Oh, and there's some
We bought some drinks.
well, yes, some non-family friendly drinks, and I've literally never seen those, but they look really delicious. Okay,
They
I'm
were
gonna-
on sale at the Safeway, so that's why we got them.
Say
Well,
what to
with
say
that, that's all part of my first impression. You need to eat while you
This-
watch
yes,
or listen to
this movie will
this.
inspire you
Yeah, you
to
know
snack.
what? In a pandemic, you know what you do? You eat and watch TV. Okay.
Okay. What's your first impression, dear?
My first impression, I had seen this movie as a kid, and I remember it being funny. It definitely still held up. There were some moments where I was like, okay, 90s movie, like, there we go.
Uh-huh.
And I agree with Emily and Louise. It got to a certain point in the movie where I was like, all right, this escalated quickly. Like, we could have just stuck with the cute camp stuff. But it's really good. It's not my favorite camp movie. The Parent Trap is. And the whole time we were watching this movie, I was like, man, the Parent Trap camp is way better still. But there was no, where were the fat girls? Okay, this is just fat boy
This
camp.
is a fat boy camp, you know?
Where the fat girls
And
at?
it's interesting because this camp that they're at is surrounded by other camps. So there's like the super hardcore sports camp, and then there's like a girls camp, a
Yeah.
normal girls camp, and then there's a couple other surrounding camps. But
Where the fat girl
no
camp?
fat girl
let's,
camp.
let's be honest, though. I feel like fat boys are more acceptable, like socially, than fat girls.
Right.
Fat girls are like
Yeah.
on a lower rung.
And the camp is presented in a way where it's like, hey, your boys are going to be taken to this place. They're going to play sports all summer, and they're going to come back skinny or whatever.
Fat camp.
Making friends,
Feeling fat.
jumping on the blob,
Having fun.
having dances with snotty white girls.
Fat
snacks.
camp.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Hide your
I think we
snack,
all had a pretty
hide your
good
wife.
first impression.
Uh-huh.
The interesting thing about 90s movies, it's not interesting. And a lot of kids' movies. I think kids' movies nowadays have a lot more intricate plots than they used to.
Sure.
These older 90s movies, kids' movies, it's a real simple plot, okay? There was some fat kids. They went to fat camp.
Yeah.
The camp turned bad, and they took it over. Okay, the end. Like, that is about the storyline. There's not a whole ton of character progression, but a lot of good moments.
Let's pause right here because Luis said this today, and I looked at him and laughed. So I want y'all to think in your head right now and then answer this question.
Okay.
Which character, even if you don't know the character's name,
Mhm.
just
I'll have their names.
which character had the biggest character arc, okay, in the movie? To you.
Okay.
Hold on. Think about it.
Yes,
Any character.
Yeah, any character in the movie.
that had the biggest character
Character
arc. So I would say our two main characters are Jerry, the kid who gets inducted to fat
Wait,
camp for his
Emily
first
said
time.
think about it.
Right, I'm thinking and explaining
Oh.
while we're
Yeah.
so it's not silent.
I mean,
And-
I know who mine is.
I have
so-
my
Right.
answer, too.
And the other main character is Pat, who is the camp counselor who has been there for years and years and years and years.
So while you say that, just pause
Mm-hmm.
because we're going to ask Luis who he thinks had the biggest character
Okay.
arc, and you
Oh,
can laugh
no.
preemptively.
All right.
Okay.
All right?
Luis.
Luis, who had the biggest character arc?
Lars, homie.
Lars!
Lars!
Lars has
What?
the biggest character arc in the entire movie.
What?
So if you don't remember, Lars, And
That
he's-
is so funny.
Louise-
Definitely Pat, but
Louise is dead serious. I thought Pat too.
I thought Pat too when you asked that question. But now upon hearing
okay,
Louise's
Luis,
answer,
what's your argument?
Go ahead, Lou. Tell us why Lars has the biggest character arc.
He was mean and kind of evil, and then, you know, even though he was held against his will, he turned good and was part
It's
of
just
their.
because he didn't want to get eaten by a deer.
well,
No, he didn't want to get deported.
right. That's the thing. Is that Lars was in it, loyalty to Tony Perkis the entire time, and until the kids took over, they tied him to a tree, poured honey on his chest, and said, "Oh, there's a whole bunch of bears out here. Have fun."
Right.
And then they went to talk to him and said, "Hey, we heard that if you lose your job, you're gonna get deported back to Germany. So if you want to stay in the U.S., you can
right, we
hang
gotta-
out with us."
We gotta talk about this part when it gets to it, because that's when
Okay.
the movie took a turn for me, and
Right.
I was done.
But this is when Lars becomes good.
But
in the
tell me
movie.
that's not hilarious. Luis is like hardcore,
Lars.
like, yeah, no, Lars had the best character development. No, he's
was
attached to that
coerced.
paycheck like the rest of us. Okay,
And yeah, and manipulated.
That's funny.
so there you go. That's how we view these movies. Okay,
That is very.
but
funny.
Pat definitely, to me as well as all of you, obviously,
Yeah.
have the biggest character arc. Okay, go ahead, explain the movie
Let's start at the beginning. We
with
see.
Dr. Phil.
Yes, we see Jerry. He gets out of school. He's kind of chubby. He's got a best friend. School is over. It's out for the summer. He has to walk home because he misses the bus. On his walk home, you can see that Jerry is kind of pitiful. He can't throw a ball over a fence at a park. He tries several times. He gets barked at by a dog. A dog just barks at him a bunch.
Apparently, it just sucks to be fat.
Yes,
like, what in the world?
it sucks
I've
to
been
be.
chubby my whole life. I never had that happen.
It sucks
Yeah,
to be
no.
Jerry in particular, I think. And then he gets home, and his parents are there waiting for him, and with them is the bad guy from Holes, the dude
For
who made
sure.
fun of Zero the
The
entire
nose.
time.
And
and
counselor with the nose.
yes,
Yep.
and so this guy, he's like, "Hey, Jerry, how's it going? I'm your best friend." And then he shows them a video, and it's a video of Camp Hope. And Camp Hope is this long-running camp where big boys go to every summer for 32 summers, and they play and have fun.
Yeah,
and
32 summers. They ain't lose no weight.
and they're
It ain't
supposed
no
to
fat
be
camp. This is just a camp for fat
encouraged
people.
to lose weight and whatnot.
No, they're not.
I'll be honest,
Let's be
it
real.
looked like fun. I was about that
Right.
camp.
It
Camp
does.
I wanted to go.
It
Even
does look
when he
fun.
was calling it a fat camp, I'm like, that's not a fat camp. This looks like a very fun camp where they're like using it's a fat camp to like get some chunky boys to come to it.
Right.
But you ain't telling me they were trying to get all these people to
I
lose
mean,
weight. Absolutely
the way that
not.
the owners run it is
Have some fun.
definitely way more fun oriented than weight loss oriented. And I'm sure that while they're there, they're attempting to make the kids be, healthier than they are throughout the rest of the school year.
Well,
or
and
whatever.
also, I'm just saying, if I was that parent and I saw the promo and Pat was like, "Hi, I'm Pat. I've been coming here for 17 years." I would have been like, "I ain't taking my kid. They ain't lose no weight."
Pat's still kind of big.
I
Poor
love Pat. But so I just thought it was. I even when I watched the promo, I was like, "Oh, this just looks like a fun camp."
Right. So, but
That they're just saying is a fat camp.
yeah. So Jerry is upset when he sees the video. He's like, "This is a fat camp. I'm not going to no stinking fat
Because
camp."
he's stupid. He doesn't know how to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never went to camp. I would have gone to camp. Heck yeah.
I went to camp, and camp was the coolest thing that I've ever been to in
Yeah,
my
see,
For a
life.
whole summer, I only went to 6th grade.
No,
camp.
I went to a camp for like 2 weeks, maybe,
okay.
and it was really fun. I really enjoyed
Sixth
it.
grade camp was a week, and that was like the best week ever.
In
Yeah.
hindsight, yeah, camp sounds fun. But when I was a kid, I would have been just like Jerry. I would have been like, I'm not going to no stinking
But you
camp.
said you wanted to go to space camp.
Right. If I had been offered space camp, then I absolutely would have gone to space camp. But I would have fought against regular summer camp.
Like woodsy
the
summer camp.
outdoors. I'm like, this is
But if we
far
went to
less
camp
video
now
games for
as
my summer.
adults, would you go?
Yeah, I'd go.
I guess it's like perspective. When you're a kid, it seems like forever.
I'd go and I'd be able to manage my expectations.
I'm kind of
more.
scarred. I'm
You
kind
know?
of scarred by camp. So we went to 6th grade camp, and where we're from in Central California,
Do
everybody.
other people do 6th grade camp, or is
I
that a
believe
I
California?
don't know
So-
if this is a California thing. I don't know, but 6th grade camp is a yearly thing. It always has been for
All the 12-year-olds.
all the 12-year-olds. And in our area, you go to a camp called Foothill Horizons, which
Foothill
is
Horizons.
up in the
Some mountains.
mountains. Yeah.
Some California
Okay.
mountains.
And then
You
the
know where
even
it is.
better part is when
And
you're
the Donner
in.
Passians.
Yeah.
Exactly.
where all the
Those
Donners
Indians.
died, you know.
That's where we first heard about people eating people. Yum.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously.
Cannibalism, and you learn about compost. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I guess you should do an episode on that one for the other one, babe. Nice.
The Donner Party? Sure,
Yeah,
I'll do
why
that.
not?
Or just cannibalism in general.
Ugh.
Ooh, that one's good.
Gross.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right.
continuing. So the better part about 6th grade camp is when you're in high school, you can apply to be a camp counselor, and then you can go again. And my parents always tell me how they applied to be camp counselors, and they were dating at the time. They would sneak out at night and go to the forest and stuff.
Salacious.
And I was like,
Go
I
to the
want to be a
forest.
camp counselor, right? Well, I
Brenda
could.
and Steve.
Yeah, my parents are nasty, yo. They're very cute.
Family
They're very
friendly podcast.
Hey,
Pat
they
and
didn't
Julie
say-
did
they
the
just
same
said that they
thing
were sneaking
in
out. I
this
don't know what they
movie.
were doing. They're probably smooching in the forest. I don't know. Anyways,
No time.
I couldn't apply to be a camp counselor because I was in Oklahoma the musical, and so I couldn't leave to like
Priorities, Michelle.
go to
Right.
camp. Yeah, I would way rather be in the musical, but my boyfriend at the time, he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna go to camp." Right? Okay.
Was
well,
this Kevin?
no,
Oh, good.
No, it was a different.
It was a different.
It was a
different-
different one.
different
This was like actually when I was in high school, like high school.
Mhm.
So not like the
high
summer after high school going into college.
Sure.
Okay.
Luis.
Anyways, and then he was like, I ain't gonna have no service. I'm gonna have my phone.
I guess I just can't talk to you at
Okay,
all. I'll
and
send you a
so
letter.
then the Oklahoma performance was the weekend that he came back, right? So I'm like, he's supposed to be back. I'm gonna text him like, hey, are you coming to my performance? Never text me back. Never text me back. I remember I'm in the performance.
Did he ghost you
He-
like?
Dude, he was in the audience and he brought flowers and I was like, okay, he's here.
Uh-huh.
Great. He gave the flowers to another girl and was like, some girl in the audience, and he was like, we met at camp, and that was his new girlfriend. Yep.
Why would he why would he bring her to the show that you're my goodness.
Foothill Horizon.
So
He
anyways,
put his whole foothill in his mouth.
I'm a little
is what he
scarred
did.
about camp, so I'll go to space camp with you, babe, any day.
Okay.
Do you want to know something really cool though?
Yeah.
About camp? The place that I went was called Jeunesse Park, and it's up like near Strawberry-ish in our area.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
And you apparently can rent out cabins there and almost do like adult camp.
Oh, okay.
And I was
I've heard that
like-
there are adult.
Like
I was-
even like the dance and like the cafeteria with the
I have no idea, but I'm up in here trying to have a Walt Vault summer camp. Who's
Yeah.
with me? Like kayaking.
Right.
And
we're gonna
like
call it bug juice.
bug juice. How many ciders have you had?
One.
1.5.
She doesn't
Um,
need more. Don't give her any
Yeah.
more.
So I mean, I'm down. I'm down to go to camp. We'll
When the pandemic's
yeah,
over.
we'll see once the
Post
pandemic is
pandemic.
I feel like this is a
Camp.
during pandemic thing. I'm gonna
I
go out there
guess.
and just live in the.
Yeah, just
Jungles.
don't touch me. I see you over
Right.
there in the
I guess
forest.
we
Have
can't
fun.
we can't go to the dance and have fun with the other.
Oh, I could dance 10 feet away. Best dance ever.
silent discos.
Yeah.
So
Silent discos are sick.
so Jerry he vehemently denies wanting to go to camp. He's like, I'm not going. And then the next scene, his parents have forced him onto a plane, and he's flying by himself to Camp Hope. Kenan Thompson meets him on the plane. He goes, hey, what's up? You going to fat camp? And he's like, what? No, why would you think that? He's like, because you're fat. And and they quickly become friends. They get off. They're headed onto the bus, and this is where we meet Pat. And Pat is a very cool camp counselor. He's there
he's
to make
sick.
sure all these kids are going to have fun on their trip. So he's being jovial and fun and happy-go-lucky.
And I
whatnot.
liked him immediately. Like
Yes.
there was no weirdness at all.
Right, exactly.
And
And I was
He's
a
hoping
cool
that
dude.
there wouldn't be because
Right.
I was like, he's actually
Yeah.
like really nice.
Yeah,
Big
he
brother
was very
type of
nice.
dude, for sure. He takes all the kids. We meet a couple of them. He takes all the kids to Camp Hope.
The English little guy is my favorite.
What is
Oh
his
my
name?
God.
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
His name is Nicholas. Nicholas Wales.
His last name was Wales.
His last name is Wales. That's what it says.
Spelled like Wales
Uh,
or spelled like the country Wales?
Wales.
Yeah, the country.
Yeah, like the country
Was he
Wales.
from Wales?
Wales.
From
He must
England.
have been.
Americans have no respect for history.
That was probably the best part.
Because
Because it's true.
they go to the Chipmunk Bunk. This is where Jerry is going to be staying with Kenan Thompson, aka Roy.
No, it's not Chippendale themed. That would have been sick, though.
And then who else is there? Josh is there,
Yeah.
who was the goalie in the Mighty Ducks. Is there anybody else that we recognize?
He was?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's the guy that I thought was gonna be mean.
Right. Yes. And he does roast some people pretty hard in this movie. But
Yeah, but
He's cool though. I
But
like
he
him.
wasn't the
He's the one that wears
goalie.
the weird hats.
yeah, he was the goalie in Mighty Ducks. No,
I thought the goalie was a redhead kid.
no, that was in
No.
no, you're
The
thinking
Big
about the
Green.
Big Green.
Oh yeah.
Too many
Yeah.
movies.
Then he was. Yeah. Right. You're right.
Yeah.
So I agree with Luis. This is the part where when our main character walks into the bunk, I'm so ready for them to like,
To pounce on him.
yeah, to pounce, like not quite haze him or anything, but just like give him the like you're new to camp thing.
Right.
And they
Which
all
they
of-
do.
Well,
A
a little
little.
bit, but they're really nice to him, and he
Yes.
fits in right away, and I like that
Yeah.
because that seems a little like atypical for this type.
Well,
of
and
movie,
they
so that
even
made me
say
happy.
like they love fat camp because they're like nobody makes fun of us here.
Right.
We're
You're
like
not the fat kid here.
you're not the fat kid here. We're also they're all friends.
Right.
and they're making fun of the other camp counselor who lost
'Cause
weight.
Who
he's
lost weight.
skinny.
So Tim, played by Paul Feig, who's also a director of comedies now, he's like, yeah, I used to go to fat camp here, but I started running.
Well, okay, here's the deal though. Okay, in the first scene that you see Tim, this camp counselor, he is wearing a cutoff shirt.
Oh, the
and
short
shorts.
shorts.
cut off, like he's wearing like Daisy Dukes practically.
Yeah.
And I'm so confused because he's like showing it off, and then the rest of the movie he wears like totally normal clothes. So
Right.
Yeah, because
in
I
that-
think he got embarrassed after the nurse saw him.
Oh, maybe.
That's true.
I don't know, but in that first scene, he seemed very flamboyant, and I'm about it. Like,
Sure.
work what you got. But then, like in the rest of it, he's wearing like a polo and like
Until he's
Backwards
covered in
hats.
chocolate and marshmallows.
Yeah, that's when he
Oh.
brings his party body out.
maybe it's just like crazy first day of camp.
Yeah, exactly. He's just excited to be there. So all the kids they're super nice to Jerry and they welcome him in almost immediately. They call him the captain because he has some like airline wings
The
pinned to his
aviator.
chest. Yes.
I thought at that point they were going to start like hazing him
Right.
bad, but again,
Nah.
no.
No. At one point, Jerry he goes, "Hey Josh, check this out. I snuck in a couple of Oreo packs, in case of emergencies." And Josh goes, "Oh, okay, that's pretty cute. Boys, bring them out." And all of these kids
I think he says like unload or something
unload,
like that.
download, I believe
Download.
he says. Download.
Download.
And all of 15 kids in
That's
this
what
bunk
you remember.
proceed to
That's why Andre wanted
unstrap
to go.
themselves with all the sausages and the
So
the
disgusting.
candy.
No, what's
and
so
the-
disgusting was all those baby
cookies.
Ruths melted on him, on his belly,
I
and he
knew it
was
was
like,
too hot in that bus.
too hot in that bus for these
And then
Ruths.
the other kids like pounce
Like,
on
get
him
a
to eat him
taste.
off his butt.
Get a taste
Oh,
of
yeah.
Nicholas. He's like, no.
Yeah, the redhead kid with the glasses immediately just wipes
And,
chocolate
like,
off this kid's
listen,
belly.
listen.
And sucks it down. He's like, I know this is
I
unsanitary.
am very addicted to food and eat bad and emotionally eat, but that was too much, man.
Yeah.
I was like,
Stop.
oh.
During this point, I was like, oh, so fat camp is prison. I get it. This is exactly what prisoners do. There's definitely some keystering happening with these kids. Sneaking in.
Keystering.
Don't say
Sneaking
that.
stuff. Yeah, look up keystering. I don't have to explain it. Yeah, so all these kids, they pull off all of their contraband, and they put it in a hidey hole and in bedposts and all around the room in hidden places, which is pretty cool.
And then I think at this point too, they start like explaining why Camp Hope is so cool and about like the founders and
The owners,
or
yeah.
whoever, and like how they're constantly bringing new stuff to the camp.
They got
and
the
making it super
plot,
fun.
the go-karts. They're
Yeah,
just
like-
like super nice.
all these super cool things that they bring and that they're super inspiring and that they love them and this and that.
Right.
And then it's like opening ceremonies for the night, and they go into the rec hall to hear from the two.
The two owners,
Two
who are
owners.
the Bushkins,
The
Harvey and
Bushkins.
Alice Bushkin. One of
What
them
is-
is Jerry Stiller.
I was. Is it
Yeah,
Mhm.
the dad?
the guy. It's Ben Stiller's dad.
Remember, babe? I said that's a stiller right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
I thought it was only at the end. No.
Well, no,
that was Ben
that's
Stiller
Ben
playing
Stiller
an old man.
playing his own father,
Yeah.
playing
Oh.
Tony Perkis's father. But
So, yeah,
but
that-
Ben
that
Stiller's
is-
real father is Jerry Stiller,
Yeah.
who played the owner, the original
Oh,
owner of
well,
Camp
there you
Hope.
go.
Yeah, that's what
I
was
mean, I've
saying.
seen that
There's
guy
another
before in other things.
Yes, he's in Seinfeld. He's
Yes.
George's dad.
I made the
Yes.
comment to Andre. I was like, "Wow, he looks the same here, but he's old, and
Yeah.
he always looked like that."
Right.
So, anywho, they pretty much go up there and lose their minds because they had to sell the camp.
Right. They're very
Bankrupt.
distraught. They're like, we had to file for Chapter 9 bankruptcy, and and they start crying, and all the kids are like devastated because
they're very
they
upset.
really
Dude,
love
there's
these
the one
owners.
kid, and I don't know his name, but he's like the tallest one out of all of them, and he doesn't really say a lot. But he's always so emotional. He has like all the tears in his eyes.
So
Poor
sad.
kid.
This poor kid.
And that guy always has a nosebleed.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly. I'm not sure what the joke was there, but that happened throughout the movie.
He's just like that
He
shy
kind of
kid.
looks like you, Lou, just like larger in all directions.
In
And with
every
more
direction.
bloody noses and tears and emotions all the way around,
So
actually.
he's not really like you.
So I guess he's not like you.
So as soon as the owners, they say we had to sell the company and we're out of here. Bye-bye. Hope you guys have a good summer. They leave, and 3 seconds later, music starts playing.
Zoolander comes
And
in.
in comes, yes, Zoolander himself. Ben
God.
Stiller has this amazing dramatic entrance where he reveals himself to be Tony Perkis, the
Tony.
It's still
Tony.
Tony Perkins. He's a like fitness guru, trainer guy, and he's coming in to completely revamp this fat camp and really turn it into a
He
championship.
literally comes in like he's freaking doing a business meeting, like inspirational business
He's
meeting or
filming
something.
the entire thing.
He's like, and I've never been around kids, and I can't wait.
right. He also says that he was fat when he was a kid. When he was 12, he weighed 319 pounds or something like that.
I hope not.
Which is crazy. But then he was like, then I got laser focused and I just started working and I never stopped until I got to what I am today.
He needs therapy.
And he's a psychopath.
Until I became insane.
Yes.
Also, we're gonna have an argument about this because all this time, I thought that Ben Stiller's hair was a wig, and Andre was like, "No, that's just his hair. That's what he looks like." Was it a wig?
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that was
I can
a
look
wig.
that
There
up.
was
Let me
way
see.
too much going on up there.
All right.
That was really
He
unfortunate.
has a very square head, so like maybe that is his hair. But I just felt like it was a wig.
I remember seeing
But then in
commercials from this
Zoolander,
back
he
then
has
and
hair
his hair
like
being like
that.
that.
Well, in Zoolander, his hair is short. But in this movie, his hair is quite long. It definitely could be a wig, but it didn't look like extraordinarily crazy wig-like.
Well, while you're looking up the wig or non-wig hair, I think the most interesting thing about this whole kind of trope is that he's trying. So, in the process of buying this camp, he not only is trying to turn it around to be an actual fat camp, right? Like to get kids fit, but he's doing it for reality TV, which is hilarious because he wants to record everything and then just put it straight to
Yeah.
TV
Right.
to inspire people to either come or to show that he's
Right.
amazing or
I think it was
both.
specifically going to go to a late night infomercial
He
too.
was,
So
yeah,
not
he was
even like
gonna
prime
sell the Perkis
Yeah, he
system.
needs to-
right, the
Yes,
Perkis system.
Perkins.
That's what he's trying to sell, and he's going to try to prove it by making all these fat kids not fat anymore and make them become the champions of the summer camp
you're
league
right.
or whatever.
So it's not like a TV show. It's like to sell the
gonna
system
sell it.
to
itself.
sell
yeah.
the system, yes.
Which is hilarious because these kids are not in any way, not so much that they couldn't do it because they could if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But they're not. That's not what they wanted to do. So when they hear that, they're like, "Oh God."
Well, and then
no."
like the first exercise he has them do the next morning is so weird. It's like a slip and slide.
Yeah, he definitely. So it's really interesting because if you had signed up for the Perkins system, it might actually be really effective because
Sure.
he's using like a whole bunch of interdisciplinary workouts and like a bunch of different schools of thought, which is really cool, right?
Yeah.
Like really kind of confusing the body into getting really good workouts.
Tap into your
kids, but these kids literally just want to play on the blob. They want to swim.
Right.
They want to play go-karts. And he takes away every single fun thing that
All
there
of the
was
fun
about
stuff.
Camp Hope and gets rid of all their contraband and pretty much sidelines all of the counselors and the nurse that are really nice and replaces them with Perkins system Nazis.
Right, yes. Lars and his group
Lars.
of thugs come in, and they're all top fit looking loyal bodyguards for Tony Perkins, and they start whipping these kids into shape. So they
Or trying.
they do that. They do the slide and glide in the morning,
Hilarious.
which all the kids fall
Also,
down.
the way they wake him up, it was hilarious. It was like that. Doom, Where Josh was like, I'm dead, I'm in heaven, I'm dead. It was so freaking
I have to be
funny.
dead. Because I believe they're normally woken up with like a
Yeah, normal camp stuff.
that kind of stuff. So after the slide and glide, they go in for a weigh-in. So they all get weighed in. They all step on the
Terrible.
scale.
This is not The Biggest Loser, okay?
Yeah, that's basically what it was like, but meaner. They were like, hop on the scale, fat boy, and then it was like, oh, you're fat, and
lose 12 pounds.
Yes,
Well, and I
exactly.
think the
They give
worst
them
part
weight
of-
goals.
The worst part of this whole thing is that it's almost like they're, like you said, they're in prison, and then, instead of being called like by their prison number or something, it's now they're called by their name, age, and weight.
Yes.
It's like every time it's like,
Jerry,
Josh.
11 years old, 171 pounds.
Like, good God. And he has them all memorized.
Yeah,
like,
it's really creepy.
do not need you throwing that out there.
I can't find if it was a wig or not, but I also don't see any pictures of Ben Stiller in 1995 with this long of hair, so
Told
we
ya.
will say that it is a wig. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So they all feel quite heavily ashamed, pun intended, about their weight goals and the amount of command that Tony Perkis is laying on them at the camp. And the
He
adults.
also just doesn't feed them. He's like, no lunch.
Oh, yeah. That's
Right,
so
yeah,
mean.
he's basically just starving them and then
Wait, no.
working
He
them out.
does feed them, but he doesn't feed them adequate food, and he uses food.
That's later on. I
He-
think he stops feeding
Yeah,
them
he stops
lunch
feeding
or
them
something.
later on.
But still, it's just not good stuff.
It's definitely not a
Bad
healthy.
form for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
and they pop the blob, and they put all the go-karts, and they ruined them.
They pretty much turn it into holes
right, yeah,
of
that kind of labor
yeah. Like
is happening
now
at
it's
this place.
laborious camp.
Correct.
not-
It's not fun camp at all.
No.
They're going to be working out for 12 hours a day or something like
well,
that.
and sadly, and they try to get rid of everything that made Camp Hope. So he redecorates, plasters Perka system on everything so that you can't even really tell that Camp Hope was there. But then you are also introduced to the different camps that we had talked about earlier. And without getting in to too much stuff, the other boys camp is I think they're called MVP.
Camp MVP,
Like
or
a
something
sports
that.
camp.
And they're literally just
They're the Hitler Youth of this movie.
for sure. And so they come in and they, number one, they totally defile Camp Hope's really cool mural.
Right.
And it's fat kids suck.
Dude, that camp counselor, are you freaking kidding me as an adult?
Oh yeah,
That
the
guy's
adults.
awful.
The adults totally condone this, at the other camp.
Right. At the other camp, they're like,
It's
hey,
a
maybe
culture
your
thing.
maybe
No.
your big boys will finally start getting into shape or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
they're just disgusting. And then there's
they-
a girls' camp, and when Tony thinks that the kids need a little bit more
Push,
humiliation
yeah.
or push in their life,
Mm-hmm.
he creates a dance with the girls' camp, which at first sounds like a good idea, but it's very
Sure.
It's very obvious, once they're there, that he did it on purpose so that the
To
girls
shame them.
would shame them,
Yes.
and not dance with them, and
Right.
that just put me over the edge. At first I thought he was just kind of crazy in his own mind.
Just kind of
Yeah,
strict
that
or,
was like a
or
turning
mean or
And
whatever.
then I was like, ooh,
Oh,
you
no, he's insane.
you evil.
Because at the dance, it's crazy. At the dance, the kids are all very standoffish. They're all on
No,
the
it's a
wall.
dance,
The
yeah.
girls are all waiting for somebody to ask them to dance or to literally shame the fat kids about being fat or whatever. Why don't they just work out? and then
God.
the Camp Hope kids are all just like, this is crazy. We're never going to be able to dance with any of these girls.
But there's that one kid who has the braces, and he's always like, you guys can't see me, but
He makes that sound.
yeah,
Why does he make that noise?
he's ready for the girls. He's ready.
So Pat and the other camp counselors of Camp Hope, the cool ones, they go out on the dance floor. They start dancing, and they get all the Camp Hope kids to come dance with them. And that encourages all of the girls from the other camp to come dance with all the boys. So they start having fun, and they all start dancing with
freaking
each other.
Braces kid got a smoochie
Braces
smooch.
kid, phew, he starts pulling game. Okay,
Yeah, he
he starts
does.
macking hard. So they're all dancing with the girls. They're dancing with the girls. They're having a great time, and then Tony comes in. And he's like, you guys are having too much fun. Let's shut this entire dance down.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Thank
That was
you.
really good.
Thank you. And so and so he has them shut down this dance. And this really made me mad.
Yeah.
Because okay,
For sure.
to make them go to a dance is one thing where they thought they weren't going to enjoy it, and then they start enjoying it. They start actually dancing, which is a pretty physical activity,
Yeah.
and it will help them lose calories. And then as soon as they start having fun, he comes in and shuts it down because he's
And then he's like, put the
evil.
fruit skewers out to the edge.
Right.
I was like, oh no.
He literally is just
No
the
fruit
worst.
skewers.
Yeah, he's
Give him the fruit skewer.
Yeah,
He's
we like
awful.
fruit. Nature's candy.
so nature's candy, and so it's
Nature's
at it's at this point that Pat and Jerry.
Hold on, no, you need to pause
Oh.
because they played this song and I've been singing it for days. I'm just a love machine.
And I won't work for nobody but you.
And I've been singing it all week, and now Addie's saying. She doesn't know what I'm saying, but she.
Dude, she heckin' knows me though, because when she came in today, she was like, it goes, one more time, we're gonna celebrate. And I was like, what? And she was like, the Trolls, one more time, we're gonna celebrate.
Dude, she knows
Yeah.
the song.
And I was like, okay, you do you, Addie, all right.
Just a love machine.
I think it's at this point in the movie that the kids start to actively retaliate against Tony and Lars and the whole Perkis gang. Lars takes over
Perkis gang.
Chipmunk Bunk, and they do a raid for contraband,
Oh,
and they find
they get all the
they
candy.
find all the candy because one of the kids who was there last year as a kid has come back as a counselor, but he's a counselor for the Tony Perkis system.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, so he's like, I know where the stash is, and he
He
rats
still
them out
looks
immediately.
like a kid to me though. Like he's like not even. That
Yeah,
much
he
older.
looks like
I
a
assume
kid.
maybe they age out at like 14 or something like that, and he's coming back as a counselor as a 15-year-old.
Nah, that dude looks like he's like 11.
Whatevs. He was a chipmunk and he knows.
Right. So
He's like, I used to be a fat kid here.
he's a rat. He's a narc, and so they
chocolate
find all the
narc.
candy, and so when the kids start to fight back, they sneak into Tony Perkis's office. That's a pretty fun scene. Where
Oh,
they,
that was fun.
They distract him while he's on his run, and then
Dude, he's crazy on his run. He's like, this log. What's wrong with him?
He's such
he's like
a weird.
yelling at random people as he's running by. And so the kids are in there. They discover that Tony has been stealing all of their letters that they've been trying to send to their families, so that they.
My grandma.
Yeah, Jerry's been sending war notes to his grandma.
They say
My
that-
dearest grandma.
The war is bad. They haven't been to camp.
I don't understand the horror.
So Tony almost catches them in this act. They find out all this stuff, and so they go on.
Yeah, because the English dude farts. Totally me.
Oh
the English kid
my
farts as
God.
they're
Little
trying to
toot
escape, and Tony hears it.
Oh, he smells it.
He smells his little
It's
toot-toot.
disgusting.
He's like a dog.
I love fart jokes with kids. It's so funny.
It's
So they make a very
bad.
narrow escape out of that situation, and then they start hoarding candy again. And so even though Tony
In the forest.
yes, in the forest in a tree stump, that narc kid, he kind of like helps them out.
Feels bad after.
yeah, I think he
maybe.
starts feeling bad, so he finds.
Because they're like out of his house, and freaking Jerry's all, a rapper.
That's right.
A rapper. And I was like, oh my gosh.
I didn't understand where that was
Because
going.
he
I'm
heard
like,
he heard the crinkling of the
Oh,
rapper.
the rapper.
like,
Yeah, they're very
From the
very attuned
hamburger.
to those
I
sounds.
don't know if I'd be that attuned to like, ooh, Skittles.
Also, we kind of forgot the part where they
Snickers?
kicked Josh out.
Oh god.
Oh,
And
that's
then
right.
He came
That
back.
was really
So-
and that
weird.
scene was so weird.
Josh, he
So that was the
makes fun of
narky part, I
Lars.
think.
Yes, I think once the candy is raided, he lightly roasts Lars and or some of the other counselors. He goes like, "Hey, you know who Seymour Butts is? Nobody's seen more Butts than you, Lars." And this gets him kicked out of camp. Right? He is missing the next day. He's gone. And then they spread all kinds of rumors
And they all
that
think he's
that
dead.
he's dead or that
I like
he's
how the cafeteria dude was like, "No, he's dead."
he's living on an island with a guy with no legs. It's crazy. And then probably like, I don't know, maybe
A week?
3 days later or something like that. I don't know how long this camp is. If it's all summer, then maybe
think it's
maybe
summer.
it's a week later. He comes back in the middle of the night. He walks into Chipmunk Bunk, and it's dark. It's the dead of night, and he's all like, his eyes are all rolled into the back of his head. He's like, Josh was bad, but now Josh good.
It was very convincing, dude. It was
Josh
funny.
don't like food anymore. Josh is back, y'all. Hey, what's up? Just playing, and all the kids are mad at him. But it was pretty funny. He was convincing. I liked it.
It was
He
funny.
committed to the bit.
I don't understand the point of that in the context of the movie though, like because then literally he's just like, yeah, my dad was a lawyer, so he was like, no, you sending them back,
And they
Right.
were
give me
like,
my money back.
the best part is they were like, what was it like on the outside? And he was like, I went to that Sizzler, got that all you could eat.
And I ate the whole place. Like, okay, but like, what
I
was
closed out the store.
like, what was the point of getting rid of him, bringing him right back? Like, I
Well-
thought that was a little
It's
weird.
kinda
I
weird.
guess they got rid of him as a show of force or whatever. But then the fact that they didn't give him a refund and his dad is a lawyer, so he was able to bring the kids back. I think it was to instill fear in the kids while he was gone. But then they had no control
Yeah.
over him coming back, I guess. Yeah. So Josh is back, and they're starting to
They should
plan.
have just gotten rid of the kid who never talked. Like, just get rid of him. Like, what does it matter? Like,
Right.
oh, he
The
was so
lookout kid.
emotional.
Oh, and then they make him do a baseball game against the other kids.
Right,
and they
yeah. The
lose.
baseball kids
bad.
stomp him out, team MVP. At one point, Jerry and Pat have like a heart-to-heart where they both realize that like this has gone on long enough. We need to start standing up for each other and ourselves. We can't let Tony and his goons prey on us like this. So we're going to fight back. So the adults are like, okay, let's do this. Maybe we can call child welfare services because this is kind of abusive and stuff like that. Maybe we can get him fired or put away or get an interim person in here as an owner. And the kids are like, maybe we can just throw him in a hole and trap him forever. Like they go out on a hike and they distract him with a butt in his face. Josh just like moons him as
Hold
he
on,
does a sit-up.
stop. I did not expect that scene to go that way. Like,
Well,
okay,
first, I didn't expect the movie to take a turn like this either. They were like 20-mile hike, no food, suck it. Basically, that's what it was.
With big heavy backpacks on. Yeah.
so Tony takes them out on this walk, whatever. He takes them out, and they end up stopping, like, after presumably, like, a long period of time. And he's going to have them do some, like, meditation and stuff. But
Tai
he's
Chi.
also, like, provoking them.
He's
and
psyching him out. He's like jumping off of the edge of the cliff.
Yeah,
and
he's
like, oh, you
being
guys
like
like
a
this?
He's just being a total creep. But then, like, as they're supposed to be, quote unquote, meditating, the kids obviously came up with a plan to do something to him. And so they're like, they get him to lay down because they're trying to show, he's trying to show them that you can do something.
So you
I
can
don't-
do a push-up,
sit-up if you
blind
can't
and deaf.
hear and can't see.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, let me show you for the sake of science. And so Luis and I are like, oh, they're going to tie him up.
Uh-huh.
Right? They're totally going to tie him up right here.
Eventually.
And then, like, carry him back or something. No, they freaking just put him. It like Josh stands over the top of him, pulls down
Boys.
his pants and tells him to do the sit up, and then he just like
I thought he was gonna fart.
Right.
He just
He
puts
does the
his
sit
butt
up
in
right
his
into his Josh's big butt.
and I'm
Boys.
like, that's just bizarre.
And then he proceeds to chase Josh.
bizarre
Is
boys
your
do
mic
that
on?
kind of crap.
The guy was dumb enough to go ahead and get up and do the sit up. Like they could have probably made him like, well, they say you can't do it when you're tied up. Okay, tie me up.
But I
He was
mean,
dumb enough
right,
to go
yeah,
ahead and get
yeah.
that. Why didn't they do that instead?
They could have
do
done that. You can't do a sit up with your hands tied behind your back or whatever, you know.
Because they're boys.
Yeah, they're boys, and I think Tony
The plan was a
he's
little-
becoming more and more delusional and crazy as time
yeah.
goes on. So he thinks he's in control of every situation. So he chases Josh through the forest, and Josh leads him to a very specific area, and Tony falls into a big hole that they must have dug earlier that they covered with leaves or whatever. He falls into the hole, seriously hurts himself, so he can't get himself out.
and somehow they get him out, and then
they get him out, tie him up,
Tie
and
him
then
This is where
Back
it
to
was like
camp.
too much. I was like, what is going
This-
on?
this is where the movie
it got
takes a
real
weird turn.
unrealistic all of a sudden.
it becomes crazy
I
because
was like, wow, misdemeanor. Oh nope, that's a felony.
Yeah.
Oh good, yeah,
Oh,
punishable
this is-
offenses
right,
here
this is
there.
like literal torture. So they literally lock him up in a cage, and when they go to tell the adults, they're like. The adults are like, well, we're trying to reach out to child welfare. We think we can take care of Tony. And Jerry's like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. You just come with us because we got something to show you. And they take them to see Tony locked up in this cage that they have manufactured. And it's an electrified fence. It's behind, I don't know where it's at. It's in like a shed or
It's like
something
a
like
barn.
that.
Looks like a chicken coop.
Yeah, and he's holed up in there, and he looks beat up. He's delirious, and the adults are like, dude, you guys can't do this. This is crazy. Tony, I'm going to come in there, and I'm going to get you out. And Pat goes in there, and as soon as he takes the duct tape off of Tony's mouth, Tony's like, whatever, you lardo. You're too fat to think. You're awful. Just get me out of here. You suck. And Pat is like, oh, okay, well, I'm cool with this now. And he just leaves him in there.
The fact that, like, Pat, Tim, and the nurse all condone this. They're like, yeah, it's fine.
It's all right.
They
I
feed
just-
him freaking food like through a hole, like
I
in the
just
fence, like a
can't.
prisoner.
Like, this is where I'm like, okay, I get it. It's a kids movie, but
Yeah.
this is on another
This
level.
has gone quite far. The abuse on both levels is nuts. So at that night, after they've captured Tony, the kids run wild. It's straight up Lord of the Flies out here. They get pizzas and chocolate and cake and candy all delivered to the camp.
Where
And
they
they
get
have-
that money.
I don't know. And then they have a gigantic bonfire. And the only reason that Pat and Julie aren't stopping it is because they're like canoodling off in an office or something like that. And Tim has gone completely crazy, and he's loaded himself up with chocolate and marshmallows, and he's going just as nuts
It's
as all
so
the Pat
bad.
kids. And they go crazy for all night, basically.
At that point, me and Ems are looking at each other and we're like, man, if it's going to be the rest of the movie is going to be a whole bunch of chaos and nobody listening to anyone and everybody walking all over Pat, I'm done with the movie.
Right, yeah.
So I'm happy that it was only one scene of that. It
Yeah,
was a very
I'm okay,
long
yeah.
scene, but I'm happy that it was only one scene because it got back on track pretty quickly. Like Pat was able
Yes.
to wrangle them in after they like decimated their, you know.
The whole campsite. I mean, Pat wakes them up. He's like, "Oh, good morning, you dummies. We're gonna start getting it together around
I was gonna
here."
say decimated his pride, but also the campsite.
Yeah. So Pat he decides to take on a leadership role after this, and even though Tony is still locked up and being tortured and fed only morsels of food in a barn somewhere, the kids start to improve. They start going on power walks and what happened?
The power walk, that's where you got that from, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
that's right.
For sure. Okay, stop.
Andre was like, is this where I got this from?
Stop.
Ems is like,
Stop.
that has to be where Andre got it from.
That's what I was
He
thinking
said the
too.
same.
Okay, people. You don't know because you don't see Andre power walk. But
Right.
if you have
Right.
ever seen Andre power walk,
It's
so
in real life,
ridiculous.
I swear to God, weirdest thing you've ever seen in your life is Andre power walking. And then when you watch Pat power walk in this movie, I literally yelled, "That's Andre! Andre does that shit!"
I mean,
sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh, dang.
But seriously, you got it from there.
Right. Yeah, I think.
And
I
he
think I
was
got it
like,
from this movie.
oh, look at there. Oh, is that where I got that from? And I was like, it has to be because
yeah.
I've never seen anybody else do that.
The power walk that Pat does is the exact
Like,
move that
Andre
I
does
do
it better,
when I
but-
need a boost of extra speed in a walking
Yeah.
fashion.
Y'all need to see Andre power walk
So
one
Andre
day.
has very, very long, thin legs, and
Yeah,
it
long
actually
Like a
makes it
gazelle.
much funnier
Like
than
a gazelle.
Pat's. And when Andre walks, he starts getting his shoulders and his hips involved. So like
his
shoulder,
hips.
it's not even like opposite arm, opposite shoulder. It's like shoulder and hip at the same time, going
Correct.
really
Yep.
fast, taking really long strides. Like he's like half doing it right now.
There's
But
legitimately professional power walking, and if you watch them, they look like Andre, and Andre could smoke them for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm
I
pretty
could do
sure we
pretty
need
well.
to take a video and put it as a part of this episode
I
think we
because
do.
it's on another level.
I'm sure there's video out there of it, but yeah, I can add that
No, of you.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I love when he does that.
so they start power walking. They start eating a little bit better, I believe, and then power walking some more.
They're
Because
doing,
they're
like,
actually
nutrition
teaching
classes
them
and stuff.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Julie starts teaching nutrition and stuff like that, and they're actually doing what the entire purpose of like the original fat camp is supposed to be. Is supposed to like
They ain't really
get these
lost
kids
no
into
weight
a
because
healthy mood.
they hecka gained when they were doing it before.
Right, when they were
'cause they were
hoarding all the
binge
food
eating,
and binge eating and having a big bonfire party. They
Ugh.
kind of gained some of it back. So at this point, the camp is going on, and I believe it's Parents' Day, and camp is almost over. Parents' Day happens. All the parents come in, and
They were like, "You look the same." He was like, "I feel better," and he freaking goes to mom. He's like, "He hasn't lost a pound."
he hasn't lost a single pound, which is obviously why they sent him to fat camp in the first place.
Dr. Phil, like get it together.
It's actually Jeffrey Tambor, who is in Transparent and Arrested Development. That dude.
it's not Dr. Phil.
It's
No,
not
that was
Dr. Phil.
not Dr.
No.
That's why I was like, "Why is she saying Dr. Phil?"
It's not Dr.
It's
Phil.
not
No,
Dr.
that's
Phil.
not Dr. Phil.
He definitely has a Dr.
Have
Phil
you
look.
seen Arrested Development?
No,
Oh,
Well, he's on that show.
it's Dr. Phil.
I think I know who you're talking about, but it's definitely Dr.
So Dr. Phil and his wife, they all sit in the auditorium with all the other parents and kids, and the adult counselors, they have produced a video of Tony's abuse in the time that they've had him locked up.
Which actually works out because the cameraman who's supposed to have been like recording everything has recorded everything, and there's quite a bit of Tony just like raging
Just
on the
laying
kids.
into these kids. He's
it's
yelling
like,
at
wait
them.
till I'm done asking the question.
Dude, that was so
That was
funny.
very
Do
funny.
you like that? Yeah, it's great. Wait till I'm
I love exercise. Yeah, and he's yelling at the kids. He's berating them. He's being his evil self, which we know him to be. They've also edited in some other stuff.
Oh, the rat, Emily.
Fake.
Josh eats a rat because he's so
Yeah, it's
hungry.
definitely a plastic rat. But
I don't know why they put in incriminating stuff into this video, but it was pretty funny for me.
Disgusting.
So the parents all get to see this, and they're like, "Oh wow, this is pretty awful." And as soon as the video ends, you hear clapping from in the distance, and Tony
has
is
escaped from this
escaped.
chocolate kiss.
He manipulated Nicholas, the British boy,
Oh, Nicholas.
with a fake chocolate kiss, and gotten him to release him. He escaped, and now he's in the auditorium, and he's like, well, good job, everyone. You're still fat, or whatever.
Babe, you need to be a freaking voice
You
comedian.
really are way too good at that. It's
So he confronts everybody
Bizarre.
by being a psychopath. He grabs a glass, drinks out of it, smashes it on the ground, and then walks over the broken glass
I remember
with
that
his
part.
bare feet.
I remember that part as a kid because he was like doing the back handsprings after on the glass, and I was like, "You idiot! What are you doing?"
He is insane. He does all of that. He goes up to Jerry's dad, and he's like, your son will never be anything, or whatever. And Jerry's dad punches him in the stomach, and then Tony attacks him back. And then he proceeds to do backflips
Yeah.
through the auditorium, and then he's all
Falls.
delirious, so he just smashes into the wall and is taken out. And that's basically the end of
which
Tony's story.
which I didn't really understand. I feel like someone should have tripped him and he fell
Right.
because he just kind of like randomly
He
fell.
just
and
kind
I
of
was like,
falls for no reason, and I don't really understand why. But this completely lays him out. They call the police. They call Tony's
His
dad, who I guess is the actual owner of the company, maybe, because he provides Tony with all of his money.
Probably.
I assume. I'm not sure. But Tony's arrested. He's taken away. And Tony's dad, who is also played by Ben Stiller, he's like, all right, well, I just need an adult here who wants to take over. Who's been here the longest? And they all say all their stuff. And it turns out Pat has been there the longest.
You probably remember me from my promotional videos at Camp Hope.
He says that like 4 times in the movie. And so Pat gets become the de facto leader. And at this point, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. The movie's over.
No, actually,
No,
you
they
forgot
had
the
to
part.
do the
no,
Apache.
Stop. Hold on. You forget the part where they're like, "All right, everybody has to go home," and the parents look at each other like, "Oh heck no! Oh heck no!
They are not
who,
done.
Who has been here the longest? Because you keeping my kid for the rest of the summer. You keeping my kid.
We are not shutting this camp down. I don't think so.
You will not do that to me."
Exactly.
I would assume that was like what, maybe about just a little over halfway done.
The movie should have been done, but no, they had to do the Apache relay.
So yeah, this is one of my like major criticisms about this movie is that the way that the third act is that like Tony is taken out immediately, and then they spend the rest of the movie facing off against Camp MVP, the baseball kids, and they have this whole Apache rally or whatever where the
Relay.
where the
Well, they rally too.
yeah where the Camp Hope kids are
Relay rally.
dressed like Native Americans, and the MVP kids are dressed like Greeks or whatever with their togas.
And we get all
Weird.
kinds of
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, 90s. And so they face off. They have this competition where they do physical and mental challenges and whatnot. But my criticism is like, why wasn't Tony still the bad guy at this point and leading the camp? And they could have taken him down and defeated Camp
All at
MVP
the same
all at the
time.
same time, and it would have been
I
much
didn't
more
even
cathartic.
think you needed like Parents' Day could have like not been
Correct.
the
The end of
final
Tony.
scene for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
He was taken out too early, I think.
Like it would have been cooler like if Pat had been like secretly fixing up that like
The go-kart.
go-kart,
Mhm.
and then like when that scene came, he like say Tony was like dogging on the kid who was in the like hopping, what do you call that, the potato
The
sack,
potato sack,
right?
yeah.
He's like dogging him, and that's why he did bad.
Mhm.
And then like the other kids, he's just like ragging on him, and then the smart kid goes in and does the, you know, one of the English kid goes in and does all the answers.
Right.
You can't
Vice
like mess a
presidents.
kid up doing that.
Exactly.
But then Pat comes out and is like, look what I did on the side. And then
Mhm.
that's when they like overpower Tony.
Right, and then they like win the race, and then they can prove that Tony's crazy.
and here comes the
take him out
social
bad.
worker who saw everything. or
Right,
something.
exactly. But that's not the way they do it, and it's just so much more lackluster. Like I don't care about the race
No.
like at all. Like the kids have already
At
won
all.
in my mind
For sure.
by taking out Tony, who is
Because
the
the
main.
kids don't care about the race in the first place.
Exactly. They're like every year Team MVP they cream us, and it's like whatever.
Also,
we
it's
know
kind
it's
of a
gonna
weird
happen.
race. Like, in general.
It's quite odd.
Well, and
that
even
go-karts was not safe.
well, oh, that's what I said. I
Yeah.
was like, they would never do
That
that, which
path
is
was
funny
nuts.
because it would have been fun, but they would have never done that.
Right.
But so, and it even hits even harder that they don't care because they win
Mhm.
and they're excited that they won, but they're like whatever and throw the trophy.
They throw the trophy in the river.
lake,
Yeah.
like because the other people are so upset about it, which I get the idea on that.
Yeah.
But like they just don't care.
Right. They didn't want the trophy. They didn't want to win. I mean, they didn't really.
Like
they had no stake in this game. They were being made to compete because Tony wanted them to win for his show or whatever.
So I agree with you 100%. It was a cool idea,
Yeah,
but like,
and there's
it
fun
just-
scenes there. You know, the race is fun. It's cool and dangerous, and then the mental challenges are silly, and there's some funny scenes. But yeah, overall, in the course of the movie, it's just it fell flat.
Yeah,
for me.
agreed.
Yeah. But that's basically the end. They win the game. Pat smooches up on Julie, and now he's the de facto leader of Camp Hope, which, I mean, no duh, he's been there for 18 years or whatever it is. And
I wonder what his day job is.
right, what does he do the rest of the year? I mean, I'm sure he's in some kind of teacher type of role thing. I don't know. He's so good with the kids. I don't understand why he wouldn't do that all year, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know. What were you thinking that
No,
he did?
I don't know. I thought he was like on his mom's couch or something.
Oh, okay.
Because
yeah.
he was
yeah,
that
he might be-
excited for camp.
Right. That's true. Yeah, maybe he doesn't have anything else going on.
Hey guys, he has a decent career. He's not sitting at home on his mom's couch.
All right.
Okay.
He's not sitting at home on his wife's couch.
He's about to sit on Julie's couch. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. Okay. Him and Julie canoodling.
Michelle, wake up.
Oh, I'm tired.
All right.
She's been
So
sleeping for like 5 minutes, so I feel like I gave you a long enough cat nap.
No.
let's look at some shmoney. This movie, I could not find its actual budget at all anywhere, which is upsetting. But it did make $17.6 million at the box office. It says it was not successful theatrically, though the film has garnered a cult following.
Seems to be a common theme with these 90s ones.
Yeah,
Huh?
I feel like I watched this movie like on TV at some point when I was younger. No, I don't think I went to the theater.
And I
to
think
see
that's
this.
why I thought it was a TV movie, because obviously I saw it on TV
Right,
somewhere on the Disney
Probably on the
Channel.
Disney
Well,
Channel.
I don't think we would have been old enough to see this in the theater.
Right,
No.
I was only like 4.
Well, not you, baby.
Ms.
I'm talking
Ms.
about
Two.
me and Andre, Luis, the people who were,
I bet Andre went to movies when he was 4.
I did.
but
Well,
not to see this.
the first movie I saw in the theaters was The Lion King, which came out in 95, 94, 94, 95. Google. But yeah, I was going to the movies when I was little. But probably not to see Heavyweights. You're right. I don't think my parents would have had much inclination to take me to the Fat Camp movie.
No.
Yeah. The Judd Apatow Fat Camp movie. Oh, okay. Lion King didn't want to show up for me.
There's
So
a lot of mumbling happening over there, Andre. What are you
I'm
mumbling?
quite sorry. The Lion King, not the 2019 version. Goodness, 1994. Okay, excuse me. I was 3 years old when I went to see my first movie in the theaters. Okay. This movie on Rotten Tomatoes has only a 29%.
Yikes.
It's pretty
What
low.
does it say?
It's rotten. There's no critics consensus, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
The critics didn't even want to watch it.
It has a 77% audience score. On Wikipedia, one of the reviews, it says that Heavyweights is really 2 movies in one, and they don't mesh. One movie is a no-holds-barred spoof of a Tony Little or Susan Powter-style fitness merchant. The other movie is a conventional family comedy that pokes lighthearted fun at the chubby young campers. So that's what people were saying about this movie.
Okay.
I kind of agree. I
At the
tend to
time.
agree with that because it goes back and forth between those two themes,
Right.
and sometimes converge and sometimes clash.
Yeah, exactly.
The funny thing about this whole thing is that Ben Stiller's character is basically the same character he plays
In
a
Dodgeball.
decade later in Dodgeball.
Right.
Which it's so funny because he kept saying that. He was like, "This is dodgeball. This is dodgeball. This is dodgeball." And it's funny because I've seen dodgeball,
Mhm.
but I guess I just don't associate him with that. I guess I haven't seen that many Ben Stiller movies because when
Ah.
I think of Ben Stiller, I think of him more like Night at the Museum,
Okay.
where he's more like Steve Carell.
Right. He's like a normal guy
He's
in a weird
normal
situation.
in weird situations, but he's still funny.
Right.
But not
Or like
like
in Meet the Parents, where he's like the normal
Yes! Oh,
guy
God,
in a weird
exactly.
situation.
not like creeperton like this.
Yes.
He's like full on
But
weirdo.
yeah, in this and Dodgeball and Zoolander, he is a crazy person.
And that's what I
Yeah.
think of him as, because
Right.
those are like the ones I have all seen.
and he creates the crazy situation.
Two-
Meet the
Zoolander.
Parents.
And yeah.
Oh, I would rewatch that right now.
In Dodgeball, which
Michelle, have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, and then we just watched Dodgeball
Yeah, I
on
just
TV
watched
not that long
Dodgeball.
ago.
Oh
And,
my
and
gosh.
Luis, you're absolutely right. This guy is almost exactly the same as the character from Dodgeball. He's like,
He's the other guy, right? Like
yes,
the
he's
other.
the,
Yeah.
he's the villain. So he's the one who buys the gym,
Yes,
and they
yes,
have to play dodgeball
yes.
against him to win the gym back. And
Oh
at the
my
end of
gosh,
that
yes.
movie, when they beat him, he regresses back into his old self before he was a gym owner, and he becomes a fat dude who's like watching TV and eating a bunch of
Okay,
chicken legs,
yeah,
stuff like that.
now I remember that. So these two movies could be like together.
Yes, it could be
This
like
is like Dodgeball. This is like Heavyweights.
Heavyweights
2.
Part 2. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
It's a very similar movie. It's
Like
it's
after he
kinda
got
nuts.
out of jail, he bought a gym.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
Yes. Did you stick around for the post-credit scene in
There was a
Heavyweights?
post-credit
There's a
scene?
post-credit
There
scene.
was.
No, we definitely did not.
Yeah,
It
like,
was like 2 seconds.
halfway through the credits, Ben Stiller pops up. He's ringing a doorbell, and somebody answers the door, and he's like selling healing crystals now. That's what his job is. Door to door. He's in a cheap suit. It's silly.
That is good.
But I liked it.
Healing crystals, I
Yes.
think it.
So that's Heavyweights. I overall I think I liked this movie a fair amount. Should we rate it?
Rate it.
Rate it.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I think it's a
Solid.
it's a solid movie. It held up a lot better than I was expecting it to hold
Mm-hmm.
up for sure. I was thinking the Fat Cat movie from 1995. This is gonna be
It was
straight up
anything is
disaster.
better than the Big Green at this point to me.
Yes,
so.
it was much better than the Big Green.
I'm glad we started with that one because
Yes.
it's like
Here's the lowest of
moving
the
on
low.
up.
Really
Yeah,
moving on up.
But yeah, there were some solid jokes in here. You can really see the beginnings of Judd Apatow's comedic genius, I
Yeah.
suppose, through some of the jokes in here. And Ben Stiller plays a fantastic crazy person. So yeah, some
He really does.
he's just evolved the crazy. I guess.
Just
Yeah.
has like those eyes
Uh-huh.
too, the like big fat eyes.
Well,
Like,
and it's the voice and just the. It's like almost he has.
Tony.
He has like the. It's like the iambic pentameter of craziness.
Right.
Like-
Yes. If I just keep talking to you like this, then eventually you'll learn. And it's
so
not true.
crazy. All right, Luis.
Get your own microphone.
6.
6.
Yeah, it wasn't awful to get a full F, so I'll give it a passing score.
Word.
6 is not passing to me. That's a
Damn.
D. Oh.
To Luis,
he's
that's
the teacher.
passing. Can you
Alright.
get this foot out of here? You are cramping my style right now.
I'm
You know,
gonna-
when you're sitting in a chair and then someone comes up and steals your chair by sitting on it with you, that's just
Yeah.
rude.
Mm.
And that's happening to me right
Ah,
now.
I see.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give it a 7. It was another solid, good movie. I have more qualms though than the other movie I gave a 7. So I didn't I give Mighty Ducks a 7?
Maybe.
I think so. So I'll give Heavyweights a 6.5
Oh, okay.
because I did have more qualms with it. It was still good, but there was more qualms, or like we said, maybe if the like second half of the movie wasn't so just like crazy and
Yeah,
kind of
and
fell off,
disparate.
then I would probably give it a solid 7. But I'm gonna go with 6.5.
Yeah.
Emily.
Agreed. 6.5. Boom.
Word.
Same.
Yeah. Would have got higher scores if the kids had committed less felonies.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, that
Whoa.
one got too out of whack for me. I guess I'm an adult now, but I was like, oh no.
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness
no.
gracious. They should not be doing this.
Or even if they had done all that and then the adults came in and were like, what the?
Yeah,
and
right.
like actually took
and
action.
like actually stopped it. Yeah.
Then I would be like, oh, okay. Like kids don't realize how far they're going, even though they're definitely old enough to know.
Right.
Like, but the adults were like, Like, I do not need to show
Yeah.
this to my 12-year-old and get them having ideas.
Right,
like, this is okay,
oh, okay,
to
so
do.
if an authority figure abuses me, I'll just trap them and electrocute them.
Yeah, like, I'll just do the same thing to them.
Yeah, it's a little nuts. So next week we are continuing Michelle's movie picks.
I don't know. You guys are calling it Michelle's movie picks. I'm calling it.
No, this wasn't Michelle's movie.
This
picks.
wasn't
was
my
the
pick. This
bridge.
was you.
This was the
Right, Heavyweights was the bridge
This
between.
was the bridge between
sports.
somewhat sports and I'm calling it Michelle's movie mayhem. That's what I'm calling
They're
it.
calling Michelle's movie Mayhem. I'm calling it early 2000 chick flicks. But we have disagreeing titles. It is because I picked the chick flicks. So apparently
Mayhem.
It's my doing. Michelle's movie Mayhem.
I like
know
it.
what?
It's catchy.
It's gonna be next Mayhem's gonna be Emily, and then another. You know what I mean? We got Mayhems going on for the rest of the year.
You know what I mean?
I'm so tired,
Y'all
Jelly.
say?
I mean, Jelly Bean.
Y'all I feel?
Anyways, I'm picking out a movie that I watched with my younger sister non-stop.
All day, every day.
Oh, we watch this movie so much that I'm going to be quoting this movie when we watch it, which is very interesting because Emily's never seen it.
Never seen it.
We
Next
are
week.
doing
Yes, go ahead.
Princess of Genovia. No, we're doing The Princess Diaries.
That's right, the 2001 film starring Anne Hathaway and
And
Julie Andrews.
Where my obsession with Anne Hathaway began.
How many are there?
There are 2.
There's 2. The third one never happened.
Yeah, they were proposing to do a third one at some point, but,
But
it
it's
never
Julie
happened.
Andrews. Whoop,
She
whoop.
is my number one, like, star lit.
She's
love.
so good in
She's
this,
awesome.
Emily.
She
You're
good in
going to
this?
love her so much.
she's-
I kind of
quite
foresee
good.
this being like Devil Wears Prada, but with like a kid.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
it similar?
Very
Kind
similar.
of kid version
I
of Devil
get
Wears
that
Prada.
vibes from
Okay.
it.
Isn't
I'm
Devil
cool
Wears
with that.
Prada
You're going to
Anne
like
Hathaway?
it. It is.
That's right. That's probably why.
Is she in that too?
Yeah, she's the main character. in
Oh,
that.
okay. That's hilarious because I didn't make that connection.
You're gonna really like it. I'm about to watch this right now.
Yeah, this
like,
was
so
Anne
good.
Hathaway's like breakout starring role. This is the first
Yep.
thing
I just
she ever did.
remember her looking like scary.
Oh yeah, she looks tall from the floor
Mia
up.
Thermopolis, the princess of
This-
Genovia.
This is basically the Ugly Duckling story, I believe.
Yeah.
you know?
Betty.
Yes. It's,
Yeah, basically.
Ugly Betty. It's almost exactly very similar to
Oh,
looking
it's
to Ugly
such
Betty.
a good movie. We're gonna have so much fun
Yes.
with this.
So,
Have you ever seen it, Louise?
No.
no, 2 non-watchers and 2.
You've probably seen it once or twice.
I've seen it several times. Yeah,
I've
I
seen
like
this
movie a lot.
way too much.
Yeah, so check us out for some Princess Diaries goodness next week. In the meantime, hit us up on social media. We are at the Walt Vault Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of Heavyweights, if you thought Ben Stiller was crazy, if you think that you could sneak contraband into a summer camp. Like
Give
I
us
know
your
that
ideas
I
on
could.
how you would have snuck in contraband
Right.
besides.
Keystering, yes.
Yeah.
Caramel sauce in a toothpaste too.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. My wife's
In
out
a
here being a genius.
toothpaste,
If you
Well, have you
wanna,
seen that with like the sunscreen? Like you
Yeah,
can get a
alcohol.
sunscreen thing.
right, yeah,
on
with like
Amazon?
an insert that you
Mhm.
could just
Hey, I go to raves. I know how to sneak
put
in
your stash up in there. Mhm.
Caramel sauce in the
Toothpaste
toothpaste.
Yeah,
too.
Michelle just brings caramel sauce with her everywhere.
I love caramel sauce.
If you want to help us out,
Apparently, that's what Michelle takes to raves. Caramel sauce.
How you
About
getting
it.
down? That's sticky.
Why not? Why not?
please
Yum,
subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on.
Yum. I love caramel sauce.
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Leave
Caramel
a comment
goes good
and
on
a like
Apple Podcasts.
there.
Caramel goes good on those apple suckers. Num num.
I thought they were apple caramel.
No, they're caramel apple
The
suckers.
caramel apple suckers, yes.
Oh,
Support us on Patreon. We're patreon.com/The Walt Vault. There's extra content and my notes there. We put up a Hamilton review a couple weeks ago. That's fun. You send an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. We'll read that message on the show. And you can still buy our merch on our Bonfire store. It's bonfire.com
We're merch
slash
right now.
The Walt Vault. Yeah, we
I
got
wore merch to work today.
There's a couple merch wearers in the group at
Merch
the
is
moment.
real comfy.
And you can be one as well. Yes, the merch is quite comfy and soft, and it looks great on your body. Get some on bonfire.com.
They didn't see my thumbs up. I'm so tired.
Michelle is asleep. All right, so let's end this sucker.
Hold on, no, I gotta say we're gonna
ooh.
play some.
Bug juice.
No, we're
Mario
gonna play
Party.
some Super Mario Party right now,
Yeah.
and we will let our patrons know what team wins. Is it Team Emily and Luis, or is it Team Andre and Michelle?
It's Team Morty.
I'm pretty sure Team Ruiz is about.
I
to
didn't
win.
grow up playing video games, so that might be
Oh.
true.
Oh, Andre's gonna record it. Oh God.
Oh yeah, sure. I can
Yeah,
shoot
why
some of
not?
this. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. We love you very much.
I guess add us on the Switch. I don't know.
Yeah. Add our friend code. It's SW1139. No, I'm kidding.
Oh!
I don't know my
He
whole
has his friend.
it's like a 16-digit number. You guys, thank you so much for listening. The vault is now closed.